they all have that slash.
Yeah.
You'll see even the Block 3 also has that slash.
Yeah.
That's the APG-79, so AESA radar. It's canted back, so it sits in there. So that's how originally you could tell based on the slash if it was a APG-73 mechanically scanned or an APG-79 AESA radar. So everything in the Navy now is AESA, so you'll see that on every Super Hornet. Walking back, so he's got the boarding ladder, and so you put it up and down. It all folds. We can't actually activate it from the cockpit. Yeah. So someone has to be outside to actually put it up and down from us, unfortunately.
I've got a roadie up here.
So some places you'll see like boot marks. You see the handle. It's like that U shape. You'll see like boot marks kind of all the way underneath there, and then basically from the VFA forward, the top half has been repainted fairly recently. You can see more aft, like where the VFA is. That's kind of what it usually will end up as. The fuel tank also, see the top half has been resprayed and resurfaced. The bottom half is not. And as you get further back, it gets dirtier and dirtier, more like chipped paint. Something interesting, because it's like I said, it's like a coating. It'll peel. It doesn't actually like chip, so it's not a hard paint. It's like a softer feel to it. So there's certain ones where you have it almost looks like someone like a tiger scratched it. Kind of that's the only way I can explain it. With regards to the gear is consistently about this cleaner. So we, like I said, we hand wipe it every few days to make sure we get all the grease off of it. Even when it comes to like on the boat, like we still try and clean the gear. But you'll see a lot of spray from the grease will be under the trailing edge or trailing links there, kind of where the knees are, if you will, of the jet. That's really like the most spray. Now the FLIR pod, AT FLIR, ANSQ something. I can't remember. But the front half, that's when you take that. We don't do any of the maintenance ourselves. We send it off to the depot to get done, and we just remove and replace. So you'll see that front panel. There will almost always be some sort of like bare metal there. We try and paint it as much as possible. Obviously, paint is how we avoid corrosion. On the boat, that's really what it's for. But that front portion will come off, so that's why it's usually a lot nicer than like the aft portion where it's like all out of the power comes from. So that'll be a pretty consistent, that's really much what the pods will look like. With regards to pylons, so there's another pylon that will sit inside of this one. So you have 3 pylons on each side, so that's your low drag, and then your 2 midboard and inboard pylons. The 2 midboard and inboard, those can be fuel tanks, or those are wet pylons, so you can put fuel there. However, you can put 1,000 pound, up to 1,000 pounds on the outboard, and then the inboards can take up to fuel tanks. It's the heaviest thing we carry at 3,200 pounds for a full fuel tank. It's the same one as those down there. So stuff weathering wise, I mean, you can see kind of just the splotch paint all the way across the top. And even up on the tail, see the F has been freshly sprayed around the F. So you'll see that. So something pretty consistent is like once the decals go on, if we have to respray the jet, we try not decals, the paint. It's all painted. We try not to respray the paint, so that's why you usually see like a stencil mark around the outside of it, because we'll like mask it off and spray around it. So that's actually a pretty common thing you'll see for us when we do things.
So it's like a mask, and then like the overspray goes around. So you can see like in between like the beak and the tail, that's a different color than the rest of it. So that's just they'll like mask it off and spray around it. Or when they put it on, they'll like just put that on and spray just that. Can kind of see there's a bit of primer, like yellow primer showing up on the top of the wing.
That is. So the primer is yellow. You rarely see it though. Like that's more like a haze/dust. That might actually just be pollen. To be honest. Yeah. So like for pylons, I don't know if I've ever seen a model with this, but it's like the low drag pylons, that big brick that sits there.
Yeah.
That is between every launcher, Pylon 27, and the pylon itself.
Yeah.
Usually it's just like the launcher, which like bolts straight to the pylon,
Yeah.
so there's always a little break in there.
Yeah.
It's 8077, I believe it was 773. Yep.
Yeah.
The launcher, so the launcher on the wingtip is the same as the launcher that's in there. It's a Pylon 27.
Oh, yeah.
So any forward firing missiles, so 89X,
Oh, yeah.
20, is the only things that go on those.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen the video of the ones in the Red Sea with four aims.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that before.
yeah,
When the jet's at rest, you'll see just like all these, everything's fully drooped down.
yeah,
Both the stabs and the leading edge and trailing edge flaps.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the full down configuration, so if it sits at rest on the ground, it'll always be like that.
Yeah.
Everything down. We do a lot of flap.
yeah,
From a airplane nerd standpoint, so like when we fly the jet, this instead of a fly-by-wire, which this is a flavor of fly-by-wire, technically you could call it control-by-wire, where I tell it what I want to do and it just moves everything to figure out how I do it.
yeah,
So the amount of stick deflection that I give has no correlation to what surfaces deflect in what direction.
yeah, yeah,
So for roll control, the entire leading edge flap and the aileron all will move and deflect.
Yeah.
And also the stabs are differential.
yeah,
So if I pull the stick full left, like on the ground where I control checks, like everything moves, the whole
yeah,
jet moves.
yeah,
So it's better pilot than
Yeah.
It makes flying. It actually takes a lot of the load off of flying.
Yeah.
Just by having the jet be able to fly it's very easy to fly.
yeah,
This is actually the easiest airplane to fly that I've flown.
Yeah.
T6s or T45s.
Yeah.
This is it. You see the trailing edge
yes,
lip there,
peeling.
it's just peeling.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Is it like different material?
It's a little slip. It's called a slip cover. So it's like a carbon composite-ish like boot that just slides on the end.
Okay.
And then that's just the paint on the end of it. You'll see on the trailing edge flaps, the trailing edge aileron, the trailing edge flaps. You'll see like towards the inside, it's a little chewed up.
Yeah.
Sometimes that whole piece will just be missing.
Yeah.
That's a fairly normal thing.
Yeah.
Let's see for the rest of it. So you see that's a 170 Beano. That's very new. Sorry, that's very new. The 166 Beano, that's older. So anything 170 starts 170, 169. Those are pretty new.
Yeah.
And then every jet, I don't know if we can see it, but every Super Hornet in its first paint job has a painted date that was painted from the factory.
Yeah.
So you can actually see when the paint job was applied. After the first paint date, you can never find it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like so many stencils that you see on the box, and then you look at the photos, and like you can't see half of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like full attachable. We don't have any color birds out here in Iwakuni. Everything is gray.
Yeah.
For attachable reasons.
Yeah.
So something unique to the spray line between the top and bottom. You'll always see that.
Yeah.
Especially when it's deflected. When it's up, it's really hard to see. Like the top and bottom paint, you can only really see it on the numbers up front.
Yeah.
Or at the navy portions where you actually see the two kind of intermix with each other.
Yeah.
Other than that, you couldn't even tell they're like two different colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you can see, you can see the shininess underneath.
Yeah.
That's just that's where all the drains are for the engines.
Yeah.
Engines hide, so you kind of see a little more brown streaked.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah.
But there is little streakers there. Something kind of unique, just more of a fun fact for the Super Hornet, is the left and right stab are replaceable. Like it's the left one
Oh, yeah.
right left. So you don't stab replacement.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a little horn they bolt on. They bolt on this way, they flip around and bolt on the other way. That's how they can fly.
Yeah.
It's a single big like post that sticks in there. It's about this big. With a single nut that's about this big that holds the little stab on. These things are crazy. On deck, if you move the stick fast enough, they'll basically stop that they can kill somebody if they move fast enough. Yeah. And even when we're fighting, if we're really close, you can see the stabs move. They have that much deflection power.
Does it like damage or like affect the life of the airframe if it's like constantly, if you like do it too much?
Not that I know. Not that I've ever been told. So the stabs, that's actually one of the biggest things Super Hornet can do is, like I said, that story about the F-22, like we can point our nose at things. Just like Raptor can point their nose, we can also point our nose pretty effectively at a very low airspeed.
So that's new with the Super, not with the Legacy.
The Legacy Hornet, so Hornet in general, has always been they've always been known as like they're very good like close,
low alpha,
like high alpha, slow, high alpha, slow speed is Super Hornet. That's like the Hornet. We'll try as hard as we can to get someone to let down. And so like something interesting with us is like with the 89X and it's like very like large high alpha foresight capability. Like I don't necessarily need to be behind the guy to shoot him. So sometimes it's more how quickly can I just point my nose enough just so I can get along and shoot the guy across the circle from me. So that's why like I can be in a fairly defensive like scenario and still do it. Something you'll see if you see the like Mad Max looking vents up there. Usually on most of the Super Hornet models you'll see the like the diamond grate. Those don't exist. That's not a thing anymore. That was like a original like Super Hornet had those. It did provide the appropriate cooling for the environmental system. Just the
on
like
the top.
the 4 or the 5. There's 2 sets of them.
And then so they got rid of those.
There's no speed brake there.
The
scoops are just forward of that.
The things that come out.
The 2 little ones that sit there.
Wait, so which ones were the diamond?
So they're on the like some of the older models that I've seen have had just a diamond that sits back there, like a grate. So the like first generation Super Hornet had those like little diamond grates. That was not the appropriate cooling. So they replaced it with those Mad Max looking. So sometimes the model will not have those that detail on it. Something else interesting, the stabs are also interchangeable left to right. So you can see like some of the second panels, like there's the 3 little bubbles and then the vent just forward out. There's a trapezoidal shape. If you look on the outside, the trapezoidal shape is right where the like leading edge of the vent. Sorry, that's the vent. The dump is but the panels are there, so you basically take one stab, put it on the other side. One stab to replace both sides. Because you can't carry multiple stabs. Same thing, engines are interchangeable, left and right engine, exactly the same. See all the colors. Leaky rudder servo, you'll see it drip kind of on the stab and run aft. Which is not very common, sometimes you see the panel at the base there, so that front part of the vertical stab, it's like a little square in the front. Call it a wraparound panel. So the dark gray lines, we check those fairly regularly because that's where like water and crap will get trapped in there. So you have to pull them off and make sure it's clean to prevent corrosion. So you see, we call it a form in place seal, so a film seal. You'll pretty much always see those with like a gray coming out. So that's one noticing at the missing trailing edge as well. Something you also see, so the tops, see all like the screw lines across the very like top of like the second portion of flap there. Those are little like carbon panels that will deform and flex. So certain inspections you can pull all those off. So it'll be like the sailor's sitting there and he'll be sitting like flat on the wing, feet hanging over basically over the top of the trailing edge flap. And you'll see like boot marks just like scuffs up the top of the trailing edge flap. So it's like little things like that. What other questions you got? I can tell you where all like the dirty spots in the jar are.
Yeah.
Like really, like they stay fairly clean.
Yeah.
So paint is really the thing that gets the worst. And if you have chip paint, it's never you can't replace it.
Yeah.
You don't ever get to like, you won't see any like primer.
Yeah.
Because we can spot paint pretty much everything. It's a pretty high priority for us to spot paint it. But then it comes out spot painted instead of like a smooth homogeneous coat.
Yeah.
Which I guess, I don't know how you like replicate that other than just like spot painting it.
Yeah,
like,
just spot.
Like do it how we would do it, just paint a certain portion at a time.
Yeah.
Base coat it and then paint a little bit at a different date so you can actually see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did on the Hornet I'm doing now. So I get it darker and then put the like resprays.
Yeah. The gear doors, the wraparound is in fact red. However, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's like white, it's like a different red.
Yeah.
And then sometimes those wheels will be a little darker than the remainder.
Yeah. Sometimes there's like green leading edges that they haven't painted. Is that
that's a very
common or
rare,
like,
that's a very rare case that is.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Yeah.
Like maybe a jet that goes to the depot for rework will take its first flight with the unpainted surfaces.
Yeah.
But once it gets to us, they have to be painted.
Yeah.
The block threes, some of them have it, that three, see the three, the two on the three like lines. It's also for the gun bay, or for on the nose. I've seen those sometimes, but it's not consistent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the allowance 17, like where the missile clamps, those free spin, so they're not always like in line. Sometimes they'll just be spun in different directions. So it's a very normal thing. It's just like that. There is, I gotta go back to this side. I'll say the pylons themselves. So if there's no pylon there, there'll usually be a little anchor that sits on the pylon. It'll almost always be there. There's like the trailing edge flap hinge point, and then just inside of that, it's a little pilot. That's like a little detail.
Yeah, I think there's one like really good Super Hornet model that someone spent like, it was from Poland, and it was a VFA 103 grey jet from I think 2001 or 2003, and it was like really like he did it with the two pylons. They didn't run the pylon closest to the intake. Yeah,
and that's like very normal for us to not have that pylon unless we need it. Like our tanker will be fully backed out all the way across. Tank, centerline, ARS pod, tank. If we're like really big into dropping bombs, we'll also throw the third pylon in there. It's a lot of drag, so our pylons they're canted out. So with that extra pylon, it's a lot of drag. Like this is like 2/3 of the drag as the full pylon. It's a pretty significant difference.
Yeah. Do you ever have just two tanks?
I've flown it, well, like double bubble. We'll call it double bubble. Yeah. So triple bubble, 3 tanks, double bubble, 2 tanks.
Yeah.
Double ugly. That's where the center line and 1 tank on the other side.
Yeah.
So the legacies will do that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough stations.
Yeah.
So in order to give them an extra station, they'll fly double ugly more.
Yeah.
We'll do it very rarely.
Yeah.
But usually we're triple bubble out here just because there's so much so far from home, and all the stuff we do is really long range. So we'll be triple bubble if we need to, which is a lot of gas. It's like 23,000 pounds of gas. Triple bubble, 10 inch triple bubble. Like even as this thing sits now, it's 17,500 pounds of gas. It weighs 51 to 52,000 pounds. It's configured.
What's that sealant looking thing under the canopy? I think the canopy can come up.
Yeah, so for maintenance, that canopy, they can flip it forward, but it's supposed to be sealed shut. So that's actually the canopy sealant. That's pretty much on all of them as well. That's because we had to do this one ourselves. That's what it looks like from the factory. They're not as visible.
Oh that was.
This jet hasn't. So when you actually stare at it for a while, you realize like this is brand new.
That looks like a scale model.
It really is brand new. We might be able to see the paint on this one. So you see the light circle just underneath the stab point? That actually that's the painting, but you can't see what it is. November 28, 2024. So it's only a few months ago. So this one will look more like traditional with all of the decals and everything on it.
It's exactly how most scale models will look.
Something else you can see across the top, the panel there. So there's some screws have like bare metal on them, some don't. It's kind of random, so you'll try and paint them, but it's not necessarily required to paint them every single time. Instead of another one, it doesn't really matter how old it is. Some will have it, some won't have it. No, actually, if you look on ours, it's darker, not brighter. So it's like bare metal, but also like darker.
You see how the Growler compares to the
Growler? The Growlers are all newer as well. They're all going 16. I don't know if it ever shows up. You see the little strip right there, like the dark line that's on top of the Pylon. It's an air trigger. Basically just creates some extra turbulence and creates some gas and airflow to keep the thing inside there. Keep the flow attached to the bird. Sometimes it'll be missing, or parts of it will be missing. It's just the way around the jet. It's really. And the Growler with the wing fences has a smaller one. Growler is largely the same as far as like the actual overall appearance. He's in the double configuration with a single on the center line. And then they have an extra antenna as well. So they have the small one there, and the other one further out. Which is the Super Hornet.
And they all are parts with that one kind of neutral, and then this one's deflected.
That's just totally random.
It's
nothing. Sometimes they'll just play out. Sometimes they'll basically just get pushed in every direction.
So they just go limp.
So like I could get underneath the stab and push it up, and it'll sit up and then it'll slowly bleed down over time too. So it totally depends how it sits or what it do. that's a pretty normal one, is the spray pattern there with like just spraying over the. That'll be basically like, hey, the fastener on the door 14 left and right have bare metal. They'll just go like spray over the fastener.
Yeah, and it's darker.
Yeah.
Instead of they're usually lighter.
But that one up top there is lighter. So something else kind of unique. So you see the outboard pylon, the rippling on the front. That's because that's like the same kind of gel coating that's on the fuel tank. So it'll sometimes ripple. As it like gets pushed back when they get older, it starts to get worn.
Because it looks like.
So like that'll be like rippled throughout the whole pylon, the whole front half of the pylon. And then also you can see the crosshatch pattern in the fuel tank. That's just how it's actually created via the fiberglass. The front tip is metal though, so you will see pretty often like the first little like couple inches will just have bare metal on it. It'll be an actual like bright shiny metal. And the tanks always get darker and nastier as they go further back. I've never noticed a Growler, the side part of the 218, having the darker panel. That's a new one. And then see that little orange thing that's sticking up on the wing, like the top, if you look at the fence, like the little, like, called a beer can. That's just an indicator the wings aren't locked fully down. That's all that is.